Does it all. All the stuff. All the abuse from home.
You want another one? Sorry.
There's that one woman who started that Sunday Smart because she's still doing it. What is her name? She said some things that once in a while. I want to be on. Yeah. Did I send that? Oh, look, I don't think that.
Good evening, everyone.
Turn it on.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Still not,
Yeah, there you go. It's on. Try it again.
I'll try one more time. Is that on? I didn't touch it that time. Well, aren't you glad to be here tonight? Yes, and we can thank our dear leader, Craig. By the way, Did any of you see Craig with his snowboarder? Anybody see him? Because I know where a good eye doctor is, and you must need one. We have some birthday people, and if I call your name, please raise your hand so that we know who you are and where you are. Fumiko Ito. Teiko Talmaizo. Candy D'Angela. Ward Brandenstein. Anne can. Obviously, she cannot. Charlene Tews. There she is. And Juanita Ledbetter. Where I thought I saw her. Must have been at Holy Grounds. Well, we are so glad you're here, and I trust that you're going to be glad that you came also. We have some new residents coming.
Are we going to sing happy birthday to the birthday?
Oh, thank you. Yes, please.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. May God bless and keep you. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, Martha. Okay. It's my pleasure to introduce to you today Kiku Nagai. Kiku, you want to come up here? She's shy. You have to push her to come up. She didn't want to be introduced, but I said you must. Oh, okay. We can take our masks off only when we're up here. No, you don't have to say anything. She didn't want to say anything. Okay. So I said it's my pleasure to introduce Kiku Nagai. Thank you. She's been here over a year, but due to the COVID restrictions, we haven't had a chance to introduce her. Okay, I knew her before because one of my children was in a youth group at our church with her daughter, my son. So I knew her from previous years. Right. She was born in Salt Lake City, Utah, and when she graduated high school, she moved to Southern California. She had a career as a legal secretary. She married athletic Dick Nagai. He was in the ROTC and then still in the military, in the Air Force, and was also attending USC when they got married in Southern Texas. Yes. All right. They had 3 children, David, Kathy, and Cheryl. They have 4 grandchildren who now complete their family. She was active at many levels with her school, the children, when Dick passed away, she didn't want to keep living alone, so she wanted to come back into a community. So her family helped her move to Atherton, where she already knew a good many people because she had gone to Evergreen Baptist Church, San Gabriel Valley, where Corey was. Yes. She likes it. She says she loves it here. She's active in the swim group and also BSF, Bible Study Fellowship, that meets right here every Tuesday. So she is a nice group of people to study with. All right. Again, I want to introduce Kiku Nagai. Would you like to say something?
Well, this is a very big shock to be introduced like this, so bear with me, but I just would like to express my appreciation and what the thankfulness that I'm here at Atherton. instead of living in my house in Monterey Park by myself. So just thank you for all of you that I know and your friendship. I appreciate it all so much. And I'm a very happy resident here at Atherton now. So thank you for all of you.
Good, very good. Okay.
We are so blessed to be back open again, and not only open, but open with a huge talent. I'm a University of California product, but I will say that Dawn is USC. Okay. Well, how many of you have been here before when Dawn was here? Oh, we have a whole new crowd. Great. That's wonderful. Now he's world renowned, talented. He also sings at the Los Angeles Breakfast Club, which meets every Wednesday morning, and has done it for
Since 1925. I have done it twice.
oh, you came on board later. Yeah, that's right. Well, we thought it would be nice to have a wonderful tenor voice to sing some love songs for us. And we're thrilled to have him here. It's really such an honor that will you be telling some of your medical? Okay, he's going to be giving some history. He's had some adventures recently. Okay, let's give him a warm welcome.
And done 1,000 things I've never done before. It made it so exciting. Well, at once my heart took flight. I only know when she began to dance with me. I could have danced, danced, danced all night. I've often walked down the street before, but the pavement always stayed beneath my feet before. All at once am I several stories high, going I'm on the street where you live. And all the towering feeling, just to know somehow you are near. The overpowering feeling that any second you may suddenly appear. People stop and stare, they don't bother me. There's nowhere else on earth that I would rather be. But the time will I won't care if I can be here on the street where you live. I'll never know what made it so exciting. Why all at once my heart took flight. I only know when she began to dance with me. I could have danced, danced, danced all night. Well, I'm thrilled to be back at Atherton, and I'm thrilled to be back with all you good friends. I saw so many hands go up who had seen me here before, and I see so many familiar faces, and I've got good friends who actually live at Atherton. In addition to Tatiana, I have Shirley Simmons and my good friend Tom Eggebeen and his wife who live at Atherton, and I hear good reports all the time. It's wonderful. It's great to be back, and I'm going to have some fun talking a little bit about my life and my career in musical theater. And I can't tell you, this is my first performance since I had a really unexpected surgery last November 19th. I had a quadruple bypass. So I'm telling you all to listen to your bodies, because I didn't realize that I was getting more and more fatigued all the time and had shortness of breath. And then all of a sudden on November 4th, I was deadheading my roses, broke into a sweat, couldn't get my breath, called my cardiologist, and the rest was history really, really fast. But it's a miracle what they do today. So we'll see how my lung energy holds out after an hour of singing tonight. Man, those of you who've seen me before know that I very often will stand up while I'm playing and singing, but I'm not going to risk that tonight. I think I'm going to sit and play and sing for you. We're going to have a lot of fun with musical theater. That's my great passion, and the Great American Songbook. So I hope that the songs that I've chosen for you tonight, and we're going to have some sing-alongs a little bit later to get you all involved in the act, and will actually prove to be things that you absolutely love. This next song I always like to do, especially when I have my accompanist or my band with me, because I get the chance to get out amongst you. But with COVID, I can't get out amongst you anyway. And there's so many of you watching from the comfort of your home. And so I welcome you all, and I hope you enjoy the show. But this Cole Porter song is always my icebreaker with my audience. Because I've got you under my skin. I've got you deep in the heart of me, so deep in my heart that you're really a part of me. I've got you under my skin. I've tried so not to give in. I said to myself, this affair never can go so well. But why should I try to resist when, baby, you know so well I've got you under my skin. I'd sacrifice anything from my mind for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice that comes in the night and repeats in my ear. Don't you know, little fool, you never can win. Hey, use your mentality, wake up to reality. But each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop before I begin. 'Cause I've got you under my skin. Well, I'd sacrifice anything, come what might, for the sake of having you near, in spite of a warning voice that comes in the night and repeats how it yells in my ear. Don't you know, little fool, you never can win. Hey, use your mentality, step up, wake up to reality. But each time I do, just the thought of you makes me stop before I begin. 'Cause I've got you under my skin. I really need you under my skin. I've got to have you under my skin. My parents were performers, so I grew up kind of with that mystique. And they discovered when I was about 3 years old that I could play by ear. And my sister, who was 7 years my senior, would just slave away at the piano, and she'd leave the piano after her teacher left the house, and I'd sit down and duplicate her lessons. It didn't help my relationship with my sister. But I did go to her teacher when I was 6, because she said she wouldn't teach anyone under 6 years old. And I held out my hand. She says, let me see your hands. And I held out my hands for her, and she said, you have stubby little fingers. You'll never be a pianist. Go take up an instrument like the horn. Well, I was a singer, so my mother would not allow me to take up the horn, because I started singing when I was 3. And she said, "Oh, that's going to ruin your mouth. You're never going to sing well. Play the horn." Talk about a wives' tale. It isn't true. Not true at all. But I took piano for several years. And then when I was 11, I was having trouble with a piece of Chopin, the Revolutionary Etude, for anybody who plays piano, was giving these stubby fingers a lot of grief. So I quit taking piano, and my father, who had a dance band and played saxophone. Mother was a singer with the band, by the way. She left Florence Welk to go sing with my dad. And that's what romance will do for you. Anyway, they would get the saxophone out in the evening and say, this would sound a lot better with some piano on it. So subsequently, I developed a great love for music of the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, which of course, my parents were married in 1938. So that music from the 40s and that big band sound was truly a part of their lives. And so I grew up with that music. And I was thinking for Valentine's Day, it might be kind of nice to do some of this romantic music from World War II that all your parents fell in love to, of course, because it's way before you guys. But your parents fell in love with this. And so let's see if you recognize some of these songs. Of course, this first song. This first song was really intimately tied in with this Doris Day. It was one of my favorites of all time. Gonna take a sentimental journey. Gonna send my heart daddy. Gonna take a sentimental journey to the old man. Packed my bag and got my reservation. Spent each dime I could afford. Like a child in wild anticipation, I long to hear that all aboard. Clang, clang, clang with the trolley. Ding, ding, ding with the bell. Sing, sing, sing with my heartstrings. The moment I saw her, I fell. Do you hear that whistle? Down the line, I figured that attention of the holy night. She's the only one that'll sell that way on the edges of the week and the Santa Fe. All aboard, all aboard. MGH, I got a gal in Kalamazoo. Well, I liked her looks when I carried her books in Kalamazoo. Gonna send a wire, hopping on a flyer, leaving today. Am I dreaming? You can hear me screaming. This can't be love because I feel so well. But still I'd love to look in your eyes. They ask me how I do. My true love was true. I, of course, replied when that lovely flame dies. Smoke gets in your eyes. And old black magic has in its spell. That old black magic that you weave so well. Those icy fingers up and down my spine. That same old witchcraft when your eyes far away over the sea. It's far away places that I'm dreaming about. Or talking all with He was the famous rock man from Chicago way. He had a cookie style that no one else could play. He was a top man at his craft. But then his number came up and he was gone. The crap was in the army now. Rolling around me. He was a boogie 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 boy. Company B. They made him come for his Uncle Sam. Really brought him down because he couldn't jam. The guy seemed to understand. Because the next in the camp went out and drafted a band. And now the company jumps when he was reveling. He's a boogie 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 boy. Company B. Bound me, Mr. Shades. Please let me explain. I'm there, Mr. Shade, Mr. Brad. I'm there, Mr. Shade. Again, I'll explain. Give me a shot, Paris in the way. I could say better, better, say goodbye, explain it only. I must tell you how really was. I tried to explain. I'm there, Mr. Shade. So kiss me, say you understand.
I hope that helped take you down some memory lane. It certainly did me. I love that music and that period of time. I mean, we really were, in difficult times of depression and then World War II and all, but the people who came through that were so resilient. And I think music really helped so very, very much. And one of the great songwriting duos of that period of time were a songwriting duo by the name of Rodgers and Hart. We know the music of Rodgers and Hammerstein probably even better than we know the music of Rodgers and Hart, but I have to say, as a musician looking at the two different styles, Richard Rodgers wrote totally different music with Hart because Hart was a tortured man. He was always a little bit more intellectual than he probably could fare in the world and was an alcoholic. He had so many issues in his life, from his homosexuality to all the things that really made him unhappy during that period of time. And it's reflected in his lyrics. And Richard Rodgers would write the music first and then Hart would put the lyrics to it. Whereas when Rodgers and Hammerstein worked, Hammerstein would write the lyrics and Rodgers would write music around Hammerstein's lyrics. So it gave Rodgers the chance to produce those glorious melodies, which are so well known. This particular song is truly associated with this month because of the name, My Funny Valentine. It comes from a show called Babes in Arms, and quite frankly, if you've ever seen the show, and most people haven't, the name of the lead character is Valentine. And so really, the female character that sings this to him talks about the fact she can't even quite understand why she's in love with him. And if you listen to the lyrics, she loves him in spite of every single flaw. Isn't that what love's about, though? When we first meet somebody, it's this great love. Oh, we want them to be this way and that way. And after about 3 months, we realize that they're really, they're human like we are. They snore and they hog the blankets and they do other things that are just not always so pleasant and, whatever. But she loves him anyway. And this song has just become, of course, synonymous with February 14th, My Funny Valentine.
Honey Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable,
not if you care for me. Stay, funny Valentine, stay. Each day is Valentine. Don't change a hair for me. No, not if you care for me. Stay, honey Valentine, stay. Each day is Thank you. Well, as was reported by Tatiana, I went to SC. Your husband would have been happy. We probably were there at the same time. I loved SC. But I went to SC to become a veterinarian. And then discovered when I was a senior at SC and had been accepted to Ames for veterinary school that I was violently allergic to cats. I'd never been around them. And I've been performing since I was a little kid. I was with Bob Mitchell's Singing Boys. I did a lot of musical theater with children's roles and things and traveled a lot with my voice. But I realized when I was a kid that I didn't really want to make musical theater a career. Well, it kind of made me have to go back into it because of cats, I guess. But at any rate, I had a wonderful time. I worked for Los Angeles Civic Light Opera for many shows. Back when Edwin Lester was producing, we had our own Civic Light Opera here. One of my highlights was working with Bob Goulet and Carol Lawrence in Camelot in 1975. And just really had a great time. And from that, I went on to do a lot of other shows, but got hired away from land by a cruise ship producer that was putting full-fledged shows on the big cruise ships. Her name was Jean Ann Ryan, and she hired me to do Cornelius Howell in Hello Dolly on board the SS Norway, which at the time was the largest cruise ship afloat. It was the old SS France, and it was an absolutely incredible ship. And I realized when I got on board that her company was so fledgling, but that she would be big someday, and she didn't have a musical director. Ooh. So I became a musical director, and for 10 years I was the musical director for all the shows that went out on the SS Norway, and was able to stay here. I'm not a great Florida lover. I'm not offending anybody from Florida. I'm a Southern California kid, and so I got to go back there probably 1 or 2 weeks in 5 to the cruise ships. And cruise ships are a really fun experience. You know, when you work on the cruise ships, no matter what your capacity, whether you're an entertainer or whether you're part of this production staff that goes on temporarily, you have to wear a name tag so people can ferret you out for questions like, excuse me, what time's the midnight buffet? And then when I did my act on board, they go, you're a great entertainer. What do you do for a living? Or this one, which really was asked me almost every single week on the cruise ships when I lived on it. Do you and the crew sleep on board? They keep us up the entire week. Really, really funny. And I love this story. I've never really told this story to my audiences, but I think it's a cute little experience. You know, I opened up with 2 songs from My Fair Lady, and we did Fair Lady on board the Norway, and when we would change shows, we had to change the whole stage. So we changed the shows every 2 years when it went into dry dock in Bremerhaven, Germany. And so we would rehearse the company on land and go to Bremerhaven. Well, we'd done this with My Fair Lady, and the guy that they hired to do Freddie had didn't sing for me ever. He had laryngitis, he had a reason, and he had done Freddie on Broadway, but he never sang for me. And so we get over to Bremerhaven, Germany. He's still not singing for me. Well, now I'm going to add another little wrinkle to that story. The guy that we hired to do Higgins had done Higgins on Broadway, and he had gone in to record the click track, which we use, full orchestrations. We used a live trio and then full orchestrated click track. He had gone into the studio to insist, I've grown accustomed to your face, be done to the tempo he wanted it done to. But he was so into the moment that he sang it, I've grown accustomed to her face. Well, we get over there and he says, I can't sing it that slowly. So we had a pianist on board who was part of the jazz trio. This is the way he played I've grown accustomed to your face. I was trying to teach him how to play musical theater. Well, that didn't work for Higgins either. So I said, well, okay, until we get back to Miami and we can pull a different pianist on board, I'll play I've grown accustomed to your face. And I had to play a couple of other things that he just couldn't get the sense of. So here we are in about to come across the Atlantic, and Newt Kloster, who owned Norwegian Cruise Lines, and the King of Norway boarded the ship in Cherbourg, France. They wanted to see the show, and there were a whole cadre of higher-ups, and they were all there to see the show. And I said to my producer, Jean Ann, I said, we don't have a Freddie that sings. She says, we don't have a Freddie at all. We left him off the ship because he couldn't sing. He's in Cherbourg, France, trying to figure out how to get back to the United States. I said, oh, good. I said, what are we going to do? She said, you're going to do Freddie. I said, but I have to play in the pit. She said, but never when you're on stage doing Freddie. I said, okay. So we're at a dress rehearsal. I'm running around in costume, and I'm over the guy that runs the click tape. And the nurse comes in and says to him, Jim, what are you doing out of bed? You have hepatitis, you're quarantined. He gets up, she yanks him out. Of course, I've been leaning over him for 2 hours. And my producer turns around and says, well, you're the only one who really understands the click tape. So I did Freddie, ran the click track, played in the pit that night. And I have to tell you, in all my years of musical theater, that was the most crazy evening of my life. Well, people go on cruise ships to find romance. And this next song was written by Canderdeb, the guys that wrote New York, New York. I mean, that's their most famous composition, but they wrote great shows, Chicago and Flora the Rhythmatics. They wrote wonderful shows. And they wrote this song specifically for Liza Minnelli's act. It is so cute, but it so talks about what people look for on cruise ships. So I thought I'd share it with you tonight, since it is all about love. Gather around, I've got a story to tell about a Manhattan lady that I know very well. She lives at 5 Riverside, her name is Shirley DeVore, and she traveled around the world to meet the guy next door. Now there was trouble inside apartment 29B, for Shirley's mother and dad were as upset as can be. They said, we hate to complain here, and we don't like to grouse, but you're nearly 32. You should get out of our house. You gotta ring them bells, you gotta ring them bells, you gotta make them sing and really ring them bells. It's such a happy thing, they're a ting-a-ling, you gotta ring them bells. Poor Shirley was 31 when she was loath to admit, and she had never been loved, which didn't thrill her a bit. So she sat and she thought for hours on end, and said, I'll go to Chase Manhattan, where I've got me a friend. So she borrowed $1,000 and phoned
home TWA and told her mother and dad that she was up and away. She said, I'll travel the continent a month, maybe two, and haul me home a huss if it's the last thing I do. You gotta ring them bells, you gotta ring them bells, you gotta ring them, sing and really ring them bells. Such a happy thing, hear 'em ting-a-ling, you gotta ring them bells. She met a Londoner first, but they did not hit it off. Because every time she approached, he got this bronchial cough. And so she went to Madrid, met a handsome senor, but he liked to throw the bull and he was no matador. She also bombed out in Brussels, in Majorca, and Rome. So someone said, oh, try Dubrovnik, dear, before you go home. Because it's the kind of a town where you'd be likely to fall. And all those Tony Conoscenti find at the Balkans of all. Gotta ring them bells, you gotta ring them bells, you gotta make them sing and really ring them bells. It's such a happy thing, hear 'em ting-a-ling, you gotta ring them bells. And so she went to Dubrovnik. The very first day she met this man on the beach who took her reason away. Yes, it was love at first sight, such a beautiful scene. She said, my name is Cheryl DeVore. He said, I'm Norm Saperstein. She said, are you from New York? He said, that can't be denied. I've got this swell junior 3 at number 5 Riverside. 5 Riverside Drive, that's where you live? No, that's where I live. Are you sure 5? As if that wasn't enough, or Shirley thought she'd gone deaf when he told her his apartment there was 29A. She was E, he was F. They had not even met until she traveled the world to Yugoslavia yet. He'd always been right next door. She might never have known if she hadn't tried Dubrovnik. She might still be alone. Well, there's no moral to learn from little Shirley DeVore, who had to borrow without a meet a lover next door. You girls who live in apartments, don't just stare at the walls. Open up the door and hurry out in the halls and ring them bells. Come on, ring them bells. They gotta sing and really ring them bells. It's such a happy thing. Hear 'em ting-a-ling, you gotta swing them, ring them, ring them bells. Oh dear. One of the beautiful things about being a part of the Breakfast Club, and I have to tell you, when I was a little boy, I grew up in Los Feliz, which is where the Breakfast Club always was. This Breakfast Club was founded in 1925, and it had some of the greats of the film industry in the 30s, 20s, 30s that were a part of it. Will Rogers created a group in the Breakfast Club that heckles all the speakers called the Roosters. They're just some wonderful members of this club. And the Warner Brothers put it on radio in the 30s. And it became the inspiration for like Don McNeil's Breakfast Club, all these other famous breakfast clubs, and it's still going strong. And when I was a kid with the Mitchell's Boys Choir, I would go there. And then I did my own act there as a kid. And then just through the years when I was in town, they'd invite me to come and sing. And they had the same pianist that had started in 1925. And I'd go there, and that dear man, of course, I do American Songbook, so he knew all the pieces. But he was in his mid-90s. And they knew that I lived only a couple of blocks away. And one day at the Breakfast Club, he collapsed. And the secretary of the club called me up and said, Don, you're close, you play piano, you know our routine, come on over till Frank gets better. And I said, okay, because I didn't want, the job, and I didn't want, that was in 1989.
and I've been there every Wednesday since. So in the history of this club, 95 years, I'm the second pianist. It's amazing. So I guess that's where I'm going to collapse. But we meet great people. We have great members, and still today it attracts people in the entertainment industry greatly. And we have a gentleman in that club who is he is an author. He is a film producer. He is he was the mentee of Robert Osborne from Trinity, and had known Robert Osborne since he was 8, and he's in his 50s now. But at any rate, he writes incredible books, and he does them on people you wouldn't necessarily think about. And he just completed a book during COVID that went to the top of the New York Times bestsellers list on Max Steiner. And you'll go, Max Steiner, I know that name. He was the father of modern film composing. He saved King Kong with his score. It was going down in flames. He is the film score to Gone with the Wind, Now Voyager, you name it, every major film. Betty Davis wouldn't do a film that he didn't score. So he just really fabulous. So Steve was telling us some stories about it, and this next song that I'm going to do for you, I know you'll all know because it comes from one of the most famous films I think ever done, and it's a Steiner score. And the film is Casablanca. Now you go, well, I love that score. Of course, what are you thinking about? You're thinking about a particular song. The song, As Time Goes By, was not written by Steiner. It was written by the very famous Herman Hupfeld. Yes, I can see he's famous to all of you. Herman Hupfeld did not write a lot of popular music. He wrote periodically. Herman lived all of his life with his mother. He never married, and he rarely went outside the house. And so if you look at that song, As Time Goes By, it never talks about true love. It talks about lovers, but it doesn't, get really romantic. Well, the other big hit he wrote was, Let's Turn Out the Lights and Go to Sleep. So it kind of tells you where Herman Hupfeld in this world of romance. So why would I do one of his songs? Well, this particular song is iconic. And it's interesting, the next time you watch Casablanca, and I know you will, because that's one of those films we never get enough of, Max Steiner hated this song. Not because he didn't write it. He had wanted to write a song for that position in the show. He absolutely hated the song. He thought it was a bad song. He didn't like it. And yet, if you listen to the score of Casablanca, he took this song and he incorporated it throughout the whole score, wove it in, did variations on the theme brilliantly, and made it just absolutely a gorgeous part of the film, Casablanca, which shows the genius of Max Steiner, a wonderful man. And Steve comes and does great presentations on Steiner, and with film clips and all, and it's really quite wonderful. Maybe Steve could do a town hall for you. It's wonderful. You must remember this. A kiss is just a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things of life as time goes by. And when two lovers may still say, I love you, on that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. Like love songs never out of date, hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. Woman needs man, and man must have his fate, and no one can deny. Still the same story of fight for love and glory, a case of do or die. The world will always welcome lovers as time goes by.
as time Never thought that you would be standing here so close to me. There's so many things I'd like to say, but words can wait until some other day. I love doing this, singing a verse and then asking you to guess what the song is. Who knows that song? Anybody? I know you all know it. We don't have the words in front of you for this one, but it's going to lead into our sing-along that we're asking you to sing with. One of my favorites. Kiss me once and kiss me twice and kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. Haven't felt like this, my dear, since never and when. It's been a long, long time. You'll never know how many dreams I've dreamed about you, or just how empty they all seem without you. So kiss me once and kiss me twice and kiss me once again. It's been a long, long time. Now look down on your sheets. I will again. Just like the girl that married dear old dad. She was a girl and the only girl that ever had. A good old-fashioned girl with heart so true. One who loved nobody else but you. Every year you whisper that you love me. You are like the wind in your eyes, so true. Let me know your sweetheart, I will come with you. Give yourselves a round. I bet you were singing at home, you didn't even have the words. But you did. I'm looking at my watch and I can't believe this hour is flying by. I have all these songs I was going to do, and I am kind of down to not well. If somebody has to leave at 8 o'clock, they can leave. I'm going to do 2 more songs. I had a friend in high school whose mother had been a singer, and she was a singer. And whenever I was over at the house, her mother would come over to me and say, "Hi, Nicole." Her name was Henrietta, so we called it the Henrietta Vamp. Anyway, Henrietta would vamp. Well, this was her favorite song. And she said, "You know, I go to piano bars and things and people don't know this song." I thought, how can they not know this song? It's so much a part of the American songbook, but it was her favorite song. So I thought, it's romantic. Henrietta's been gone now for 30 years, but I still remember this song, and I remember how much she loved it, and I bet you love it as well. Try a little tenderness. She may be waiting, just anticipating things she will never possess. While she's without them, try a little tenderness. It's not just sentimental. She has a great regret, and a word that's soft and gentle makes it easier to bear. You won't regret it. Women don't forget it. Love is their whole happiness. And it's all so easy. Try a little tenderness. And a word soft and gentle makes life easier to bear. You won't regret it. Women don't forget it. Love is our whole happiness. It's all so easy. Try a little tenderness. Try, just try a little It's so romantic. The hour's approaching. I was very fortunate on the cruise ships because we did different shows. I started out with their first show, Hello Dolly, but we did every 2 years different shows. And in the mid-'80s, we did a show called Barnum on the Live of P.T. Barnum. And whenever we did shows on the Norway, we used to get people that would had originated the roles either on the London stage or the Broadway stage to come on for at least 3, if not 6 months, to kind of kick the thing in gear. And we always try to get people who had at least understudied the role on Broadway to do the lead roles. Well, we had a gentleman on board who had done the lead role, originated the role in London, but it was debuted there. And he had always been a music hall theater performer, more like comedy and that sort of thing. And when he was leaving the ship to go to London to do a new show, I asked him what his next show was going to be. He said, Don, this show is so different from anything I've ever done in my life. It's going to change my image. He said, and if I can pull this show off, I think it's going to change my life and make me a household name. Well, the man's name was Michael Crawford, and the show he was going to London to do was Phantom of the Opera. I had the great pleasure of going to London shortly after it opened, and Michael couldn't get me seats. You could not get into that show. So we stood in the cold and ended up going and buying scalpers tickets, which I thought was a fortune back in 1986. These tickets were $75 a piece. I thought, oh my goodness. And it was a matinee. Anyway, but it was so amazing. And I came home. It's one of those things I'm kind of cursed with this ear. I came home and about a week later, and I sat down, and the music wasn't yet out. And I sat down and played this next song. I thought it was so gorgeous. It wouldn't leave my head, and I had to play it out. So I want you to imagine, first of all, before I do this song, I'm going to say goodbye and thank you for everything tonight. You've always been a wonderful audience for me. Thank you, Tatiana, for having me. And thank you to the tech crew for making sure that this goes through the whole facility. And all of you at home, if you can't come the next time I'm here, I want to see your faces. Anyway, I want you to imagine you're in the oldest working theater in London,
The stage has been darkened. The young ingenue, Christine Naye, has just had her debut up on that stage, and she's back in the dressing room combing out her hair in a full-length mirror. And through that mirror steps a figure all in black with a mask around his face. And he begins to sing to her about his favorite thing, the music of the night. Nighttime showers lightens each sensation. Darkness spreads and breaks imagination. Silently the senses abandon their defenses. Slowly, gently, night unfurls its splendor. Press it, sense it, tremulous and tender. Turn your face away from the garish light of day. Turn your thoughts away from cold, unfeeling light. And listen to the music of the night. Close your eyes and surrender to your charms. Please put your thoughts of the life you knew before. Close your eyes, let your spirit start to soar. And you live as you never lived before. Sweet intoxication, touch me, trust me, savory sensation. Let the free begin, let your fantasies give in to the power of the music that I write. The power of the music. Can make my song take flight. Help me make the music of the
Wasn't that just what we all needed? Oh, it was wonderful. You are amazing. Can't wait till you're back again. Yeah, you've been bringing us so much. Build our soul.
Well, I thank you because, quite frankly, when I was in the hospital in November, I said to myself, you may never sing again, because you really don't know with a surgery like that. If you're going to have the lung capacity, if you're going to have everything. And tonight was a night to come back, and I appreciate you for putting up with me because I didn't know what was going to happen. And I think with a little more practice, I might get this right. Thank you so very, very much for helping.
outdated recordings in years. I haven't repressed them, so I don't have any right now. I keep thinking I'm going to do them, but I don't know.
Please
thank you.
do. We would love to have you all the time.
Oh, you're wonderful. Well, I thank you all, and I must run. I would greet you all, but it's COVID anyway, so I should. But anyway, you're all so wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, everybody.